Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. The Curse of Oak Island. The team finds strong evidence of a pre-Columbus visit to the island. The Curse of Oak Island team was still in Italy for this week's episode, and they found strong evidence of a voyage by sailors close to Templar Knights to the area of Oak Island nearly 100 years before Columbus reached America. Rick Lagina and the guys were in Italy to research the long-held theory that members of the medieval order of Templar Knights hid treasure and ancient Christian relics on Oak Island. The Templars had been a powerful order charged with protecting Christians in the Holy Land, but at the beginning of the 14th century, they fell from favor and were persecuted and disbanded. The guys now believe that the Templars transported a quantity of treasure from Jerusalem through Italy, France, and Scotland, and finally deposited it on Oak Island, long before Christopher Columbus's infamous voyage. Rick and the guys met up with Professor Andrea Pierobalent at the American University of Rome, where they learned about the voyages of the Zeno brothers, who many believe traveled to North America in the 1390s. Pierobalent, an expert on pre-Columbian voyages to America, explained that Antonio and Niccolo Zeno were two merchant sailors from Venice who sailed up to Scotland and the Faroe Islands in search of trade. Did a 14th-century Scottish Templar knight sail to Oak Island? The Zeno brothers then met up with and began working for the Scottish prince, Henry Sinclair, who was known as a Templar knight sympathizer. Some historians have previously credited Sinclair with traveling to North America with saved Templar treasure. However, Pierobalent produced a map created by a Zeno descendant in 1558 which showed the Zeno brothers' voyage. And incredibly, the map shows an edge of Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. The professor also revealed another map from the late 17th century that actually credited Antonio Zeno with discovering Canada. The guys saw this as clear evidence that individuals connected with the Templar Knights could have visited Oak Island in the 14th century. The Oak Island team wasn't finished there, though. They headed to an old Templar church in the town of Viterbo to examine the symbols on the walls. Here, they came across a carving of a cross with 4 dots, similar to the infamous H.O. stone. The H.O. stone, found on Oak Island in the 1920s, was thought to be a marker and was so called because it featured 2 symbols that looked like an H and an O, with a cross and 4 dots in between. Templar Knight expert Gianluca de Prospero told the guys that the cross with the 4 dot symbol was used by the Knights to indicate ancient relics were placed nearby. Alex Lagina says the H.O. stone could be a Templar marker. Alex had a brainwave when he found a carving on a pillar that read HIC, and was informed that hic means here in Latin. The younger Lagina noted the similarity of the carving to the one on the H.O. stone and speculated that the Oak Island stone may actually read, "Here is Templar treasure." It's a fascinating theory and definitely one that will have to be further explored. Meanwhile, back on an increasingly rain-soaked Oak Island, winter is rapidly approaching. The Duma Mining Company finally reached and secured the bottom of the garden shaft. Marty Lagina and Charles Barkhouse traveled 82 feet down to the bottom, where they were both blown away by the excitement of actually getting below ground in the money pit area. Marty said, "The treasure hunt begins now." The sun rose over Oak Island, casting long shadows across its mysterious landscape. For centuries, tales of hidden treasure and secretive visitors had haunted this small isle off the coast of Nova Scotia. Today, the team, composed of seasoned treasure hunters and enthusiastic historians, was on the brink of a breakthrough that could rewrite history. Marty and Rick Lagina, the brothers who had dedicated years of their lives to unraveling the island's secrets, stood at the edge of the swamp. It was a place that had yielded many puzzling artifacts and raised even more questions. Alongside them were archaeologist Dr. Laurie Stanton, historian Charles Barkhouse, and metal detection expert Gary Drayton. Their hearts pounded with anticipation as they prepared to uncover what could be the most significant find of their careers. The team's initial exploration began with the unearthing of peculiar stone carvings and ancient wooden structures, suggesting human activity far earlier than the infamous Money Pit dig. Yet it was the latest discovery, a piece of intricately carved wood found deep within the swamp, that had set their pulses racing. The carvings bore symbols unlike any seen before on the island. Dr. Stanton carefully examined the artifact, her brow furrowing in concentration. "This wood is not just old, it's ancient," she murmured, her voice tinged with excitement. "And these symbols, they're definitely not of European origin. They might be pre-Columbian." The statement hung in the air, heavy with implications. If true, it suggested that someone had visited Oak Island long before Christopher Columbus set foot in the New World. "Let's get this analyzed," Rick said, his voice steady but filled with urgency. They knew that proving such a theory required more than just the artifact. They needed corroborative evidence from multiple sources. Days turned into weeks as the team meticulously combed through historical records and conducted more digs. Their efforts paid off when they unearthed another crucial piece of evidence, an ancient coin with unfamiliar markings. Charles Barkhouse, with his extensive knowledge of historical artifacts, was the first to examine it. "This coin doesn't belong to any known European civilization," he said, his voice trembling with excitement. "It's similar to coins from the ancient East, possibly Chinese or even Phoenician." The implications were staggering. Could it be that explorers from distant lands had reached the shores of North America long before Columbus? The team's theory gained further credence when Gary Drayton, using his trusty metal detector, uncovered a small but exquisitely crafted jade figurine. Its style was distinctly Asian, yet its presence on Oak Island defied all conventional historical narratives. As the evidence mounted, the team sought the expertise of Dr. Mei Ling, a renowned historian specializing in ancient transoceanic voyages. Dr. Ling's analysis of the jade figurine and coin provided the breakthrough they needed. "These artifacts," she explained, holding the jade figurine delicately, "are consistent with items found in ancient Chinese shipwrecks. The craftsmanship, the materials used, they suggest a connection to the Song dynasty, which thrived around the 10th to 13th centuries. This could mean that Chinese explorers reached North America far earlier than we ever imagined." The team was electrified by the revelation. They realized they were standing on the precipice of a discovery that could rewrite the history books. The next step was to find definitive proof of a pre-Columbian presence, something that would leave no doubt in the minds of skeptics. Their search led them to a cave hidden deep within the island's dense forest. Local legends spoke of this cave as a place of great mystery and danger, but it had never been thoroughly explored. With renewed determination, the team ventured inside, their flashlights casting eerie shadows on the walls. What they found inside was beyond their wildest dreams. The cave walls were adorned with ancient murals, depicting scenes of sea voyages, strange creatures, and unfamiliar landscapes. The style of the artwork was strikingly similar to that of ancient Chinese and Phoenician cultures. In the center of the cave, they discovered a stone altar covered in inscriptions. Dr. Ling's hands trembled as she translated the inscriptions. These tell the story of a great journey across the ocean, led by a fleet of ships seeking new lands. They speak of storms, strange stars, and a land rich with resources. The altar also contained a map etched into the stone. It depicted the coastline of what was unmistakably North America, with Oak Island marked prominently. The realization dawned upon the team. They had found undeniable proof that ancient explorers had reached these shores long before Columbus.